Chapter 2424, I'm very unhappy. Published by Divine Tao Library. Translator, Salavan and Ashish. Translation checker, Pew Pew Lasergun. Editor and proofreader, Leo of Zion Mountain and Dale Ligerkeys. Yang Kai asked with a snort, why is Senior Feng Xuan acting so anxious? I didn't say you sneak attacked me. Senior, you wouldn't happen to have a guilty conscience, would you? Feng Xuan was at a loss for words. He was a third-order Emperor Realm Master and he had to act like one. In any case, it would be too embarrassing for him to continue to bicker with Yang Kai. At the critical moment, Feng Shi stepped forward and shouted, you bastard. You dare insult my seeking passion sect. If you quickly kowtow and apologize, you might be able to keep your life. He had a grim look on his face, as if he couldn't wait to kill Yang Kai. Obviously, he still had not forgotten last night's disgrace. It wasn't surprising as he had always been treated with dignity since childhood. When had he suffered such humiliation and disgrace? Every time Feng Shi recalled what happened over these last 2 days, he felt like he couldn't hold his head high. He couldn't wait to behead Yang Kai and drink his blood. Only this could end his enmity. Yang Kai turned to him and asked with a friendly smile, why, if it isn't young sect Master Feng? I remember you acting like a frightened baby last night, but now you're acting all proud and mighty. I wonder what happened. Oh, is it because you found a strong backer so now you can hold your head up high? Oh, don't stare at me like that, you might pop your eyes out. You speak nonsense. When did that happen? Feng Shi glared at him, grinding his teeth, his face alternating between red and blue as he vehemently denied the charge. Yang Kai coldly snorted and continued, last night, this young master took pity on you and let you go. Seeing young sect master crying and begging to spare you was deeply moving after all. I never thought that not only would the young sect master not feel deep gratitude, but he would even try to repay kindness with enmity. When Hu Yuan and the others heard this, they all looked at Feng Shi with a weird look on their faces. They secretly thought that there was some kind of grievance between these two young men and couldn't help but wonder what happened last night that made Seeking Passion Sect's young sect master cry and beg this young man to spare him. So, something like this happened. No wonder he was denying so forcefully. Feng Shi wanted to explain himself, but Feng Xuan waved his hand, stopping him. Feng's eyes, face and neck were red in anger, but he didn't dare to disobey his father's orders. He could only swallow his grievance back down as his eyes turned red, filled with complaint. Feng Xuan looked at Yang Kai and indifferently stated, young man, acting boldly isn't a bad thing, but you must also judge your situation accurately. Only a reckless person blindly charges forward without thinking. Bah! Yang Kai frivolously stood there and spat before he lazily cupped his fists at Feng Xuan and said, Junior will take Senior's guidance to heart. However, what is it you really want to say? Feng Xuan furrowed his brow and asked, I heard that you snatched 2 space rings from members of my Seeking Passion sect last night. He snatched 2 space rings from Seeking Passion sect. Hu Yuan and the others' eyes widened in shock when they heard this, none of them able to believe their ears. Previously, they thought of Yang Kai as someone who truly didn't fear the heavens, a rash youth who didn't know what was good for him, but now it seemed that he wasn't just rash but a complete lunatic. Who in the entire Northern Territory would dare to snatch space rings from Seeking Passion sect? The answer, this young man. And it wasn't just 1 ring, but 2. Who knows which hapless fellow lost his space ring? But even if that was the case, why was Sect Master Feng Xuan personally asking about it? This boy was finished, he wouldn't see the light of day tomorrow. Yang Kai immediately shouted with a serious look on his face, Senior, you can eat whatever you please, but you cannot say whatever you want. What snatching? I take great offense to this charge. This young master acted openly and above board, always maintaining a righteous character. I even sit upright. I have never done such a thing. Senior saying I snatched 2 space rings is tantamount to tarnishing the noble character of this young master. I am very unhappy, being accused so. His serious face suddenly turned gloomy as if he was really angry. Hu Yuan and the others immediately wiped the cold sweat off their foreheads. All of them were Emperor Realm Masters, and had been roaming freely in the star boundary for several thousand years each, but what they saw today had truly broadened their horizons. They felt that the things they had seen in their entire lives weren't as mind-blowing as what they were seeing today. Where did this lunatic come from? He was not showing any intention of lowering his head even when faced with a third-order Emperor Realm Master. On the contrary, he was speaking so flippantly and without any hesitation. Yao Zhou angrily shouted, didn't you steal this king and Zaya's space rings? Boy, don't lie through your teeth. Once he said this, Hu Yuan and the others, who had just wiped the sweat off their forehead, started sweating again. To their surprise, the two hapless fellows who lost their space rings were the Seeking Passion sect's Vice Sect Master and Young Sect Master. This had suddenly turned into a big deal that would not end simply. Originally, everyone thought that Yang Kai had robbed the rings of some Seeking Passion sect disciples, but the truth was far more shocking. If it was just Feng Shi, it was still somewhat acceptable as he was just a third-order Dao Source Realm cultivator, but Yao Zhu was a second-order emperor. How could such a master have his space ring stolen? Regardless of how this matter ended today, Seeking Passion sect would suffer a serious loss of face. Their Vice Sect Master and Young Sect Master had their space rings snatched by a third-order Dao Source Realm brat. If word got out, Seeking Passion sect would not be able to gain a foothold in the Northern Territory anywhere. Hu Yuan and the others could almost see this bizarre matter being turned into a song and sung on the streets of every city. In just 10 years, the people of the Seeking Passion sect would not be able to lift their heads. So, you were talking about those space rings. Yang Kai looked as if he woke up from a dream and was struck with realization. The next moment, his face sank as he stated with a snort, Vice Sect Master, please choose your words more carefully. When did I snatch those two rings? One ring was a bargaining chip given to this young master, while the other was forcefully stuffed into my hands by your young sect master. If this young master didn't take it, the young sect master would have been uneasy, so this young master reluctantly took it, but now you are using this young master's kind gesture to level false accusations. Little bastard. Yao Zhu erupted in fury as he fiercely circulated his emperor chi, seemingly wanting to rush forward and rip Yang Kai into 10,000 pieces. Yang Kai agilely jumped back and, landing beside Enruo Yun and the others, stared up at him, asking, what are you doing? Do you want to kill me? You can give it a try. Sect Master. Yao Zhu looked back and cupped his fist at Feng Xuan as he declared, I must kill him. Feng Xuan calmly stated in response, you can't. Yang Kai had jumped to Enruo Yun and the other side, so Yao Zhu had lost any chance to kill Yang Kai. And Feng Xuan, as the sect master of the Seeking Passion sect, couldn't personally kill Yang Kai as that would be a disgrace to his status. He suddenly discovered that this young man of unknown origin was giving him a terrible headache, seemingly even harder to deal with than Bing Yun. Feng Xuan pondered for a moment before staring at Yang Kai and praising, little brother is a dragon among men. You will become an outstanding character in the future. You can treat those two rings as this sect master's gift to you for our first meeting. Yang Kai raised his brow and responded with a snort, Senior wants to have the last word and seems quite adept at it too. Feng Xuan knew that he would definitely not be able to take back the two space rings, so he simply said that they were gifts for their first meeting. It was extremely shameless, however, it would also show the generosity of Seeking Passion sect and save them some face. But there is one thing in him that this king needs back. Little brother, please cooperate. Yang Kai furrowed his brow and asked, what is it? He hadn't found anything special when he went through the rings before, though there were many precious treasures. The Blood Jade Kiln, Feng Xuan quickly said. Blood Jade Kiln, Yang Kai murmured to himself, quickly scanning his space ring with his divine sense before taking out a red Kiln statue. This Kiln statue was just 30 centimeters tall and was quite vivid and lifelike, but Yang Kai had no idea what it was carved from. He had thrown it into his ring after a glance, and only when Feng Xuan brought it up did he suddenly remember it. That's it, Feng Xuan confirmed with a nod. What's so special about this thing? Yang Kai asked curiously. He had no idea why Feng Xuan wanted this thing back. Feng Xuan didn't try to conceal anything and explained, it is useless to little brother as it is simply a status symbol of the young sect master's wife of my sect. It is passed down from the ancestral founder of my sect and holds great ceremonial significance to my Seeking Passion sect. The status symbol of the young sect master's wife. Yang Kai raised his brow and glanced at Ziyu, who was still kneeling before the entrance, thinking that Feng Shi was still very interested in her. He had 69 concubines at home and yet he actually brought this Blood Jade Kiln as a gift to give Ziyu. Obviously, he regarded her as extremely important. But this wasn't strange as Ziyu was the top rising star of Ice Heart Valley. She was a perfect match for Feng Shi, whether it was her origin or aptitude. His 69 concubines at home were simply no match for Ziyu. Yang Kai had no idea whether Feng Xuan's words were true or not, or whether there was a secret hidden in the Blood Jade Kiln, but while he was immersed in his thoughts, a voice suddenly rang in his ears, Feng Xuan isn't lying. The Blood Jade Kiln is indeed the status symbol of the wife of each generation's young sect master. Only the one who possesses the blood jade Kiln can be regarded as the young sect master's wife. Other women would just be the concubines of the young sect master. The voice belonged to Inruo Yun. She would definitely not lie to him, so Yang Kai secretly nodded in acknowledgement. Good. This king needs to take this blood jade Kiln back. Please cooperate and return it to this king. Feng Xuan stretched his hand toward Yang Kai as he spoke. A meaningful grin immediately appeared on Yang Kai's face as he asked, Senior only needs this thing back. There are many rare and precious treasures inside those 2 rings. Are you sure you don't want them as well? Feng Xuan proudly stated, although those things are valuable, they are nothing but a drop in the bucket to my seeking passion sect. However, the blood jade Kiln cannot be lost. Yang Kai broke into laughter and declared, Seeking Passion sect deserves its reputation as a top sect of the Northern Territory. As expected, you are really wealthy. So many treasures are nothing to you, this has indeed opened my eyes. Feng Shi let out a cold snort and sarcastically said, What a country bumpkin. Yang Kai grinned towards him, his smile seeming to carry a deep meaning. Feng Shi couldn't help but shudder seeing this smile, an extremely unpleasant feeling suddenly gripping his heart. Right then, Yang Kai looked back at Feng Xuan and stated, If Senior wants this blood jade Kiln back, this young master can return it. After all, this thing is extremely significant to your noble sect, and this young master doesn't want to take someone's beloved treasure. Many thanks for your understanding, Feng Xuan calmly said. Yang Kai laughed meaningfully next, as I told your young sect master and vice sect master the night before, all things in this world are negotiable. If Senior wants this thing back, there is no problem, as long as you can make it worthwhile for me. While speaking, he quickly rubbed his index finger and thumb, indicating he wanted money. The onlooking Hu Yuan and the others were immediately struck with dizziness.